Good morning. Welcome to the Good Morning Walk. Although it's not going to be a walk this morning. It's going to be a nice lounge in the deck chair this morning. So it's going to be a nice, quite a nice sit down, but quite a nice chilled. Partly because I also don't know how long I'm going to have with you guys today. I am at a wedding today. So down here in Farnham today, and I went for a quick recce to try and find like somewhere to sort of do the walk, but I couldn't find anywhere good to go and do it. So here we are in the hotel courtyard. Farnham is really weird. It's a really weird place, certainly, but. Yeah, so any moment I could be whisked off in a flurry of activity. So pardon me if we have to end stuff earlier than usual today. It's probably not going to be as long as we normally do. But anyway, yes, Kroban, good afternoon to you. Richard, good afternoon from Thailand. Nico de Smit, good morning. It's the morning sit-in, yes. certainly is today. Keldapood, Keldy Pride, good morning to you. Catho OG, good morning all from Ireland. So good morning, one and all. And once again, welcome to Good Morning Walk. I don't know why. Always feel when I'm the further I go down south, the more northern I have to put on an accent. So take that as you will. But yeah, where to begin? Oh. Oh, pardon me. But yeah, where indeed to begin this week? Yeah, e-buy gum. Yeah, indeed, it really is e-buy gum. Where to even begin this week? I mean, I suppose let's start with the. I got a job 3 minutes after 3 minutes sitting around. Before you know it, your accent ends up being Scottish. Very true. That's probably the case. Pretty Bird, greetings to you. Good morning to you. Welcome to the good morning sit-in, as it is today. Do you know the Rwanda thing is reciprocal? Yeah, we're gonna get onto that in a bit, actually. Oh my word! You have to excuse me because it was, again, when you were at a wedding, you know, we had a late night reception last night for all the sort of the guests, sort of the invited guests night. So we were at that this morning. So if I do come across sounding a bit rough, that's probably why. Why not start with Boris fleeing through Ukraine? Yeah, let's tell you what. Let's start with that. Then we'll go on to the European Court stuff, and then we'll do the Rwanda fight. Yeah. I've still not recovered. Still not recovered from this morning. Oh, still. Well, not this morning. Last night. Yeah. So. So as you well aware, aloha everyone, Chthonic, good morning to you. So one of the areas you'd expect Boris Johnson to be really paying attention to, like if you were a politician and you're in Boris Johnson's position, your key most prime area is to certainly look after and at least pay attention to those red wall seats, especially those red wall seats, because that's what won you the election. That's what you were known for. You know, that was your massive selling point after 2019, and even before that. Look, you know, I'm Boris. I can reach out to voters that the Conservative Party can never, ever reach out to. So that was certainly the one key point. Of course, he was selling to people on, um, and at least trying to get across to people, this is why I'm the leader. Sort of, throw your weight around. I'm the big dog on campus type of thing. But of course, Boris has been in a lot of trouble recently, and you have to really wonder how many Red Wall MPs just a week ago, just a week ago, um, voted for Boris in that no confidence vote. You really have to wonder how many of them actually did that and how many voted against, because if you look at his track record, especially on like the Red Wall, like the funding on the Red Wall, it's been nothing. He hasn't delivered on any of his promises when it comes to delivering for the Red Wall or giving any money or anything like that. We've looked at the Red Wall report about what the government wanted to do, and yeah, he's not fulfilled any of it. Patrick, no point in looking after the Red Wall when you're losing real Tory seats in government and local government seats. Yeah, very true. Oh dear. Yeah, very true, Bakura. Yeah, all Boris seems to want to do is just piss people off. Yeah, it's very true. Um, it's true. Doesn't get anything done. Doesn't get anything done when you're in government. Um, but this is why you don't elect these people because they don't get anything done. How many Red Wall MPs are there? Um, 36, I think, in total. Or is it 19? I think in the new intake, it's 19, but in total I think there's a bit more because they've sort of glommed on a couple of the other, so we say, close interliers into sort of what they call the Red Wall. Um, but of course, as you know, Boris has been in a bit of trouble. He's had the no confidence vote, and of course, this weekend there was meant to be this massive Red Wall conference organised by these Red Wall Tories, and this was going to be trying to rally the base of these Red Wall voters, these these new Conservative voters, get them rallied back to the side because there is a huge amount of worry that they have lost their support, and really they have. Like I say, we're going to see next week in Wakefield. We are probably going to see Wakefield go back to Labour, and of course the big hope as well is down south in Tiverton, is that goes to the Lib Dems. That's the biggest hope that we've got to have, because almost certainly if that happens, that's another pressure point Boris now has to fight against. A huge pressure point he has to fight against. Yeah. Yeah, they vote no one if they're competent or not. They just vote for them if they're charming. Yeah. Yeah. But that's unfortunate way with Cathodgy. Yeah, man, in Wakefield seems a bit crazy. Yeah. It's going to be one of those things where it just goes through go through the motions. I mean, do you remember what was it, Hartlepool? If you remember the Hartlepool elections, when that happened, one of the big things we were reporting on was the fact that you had these voters in Hartlepool going, okay, we voted for you, now give us what we want, give us what you promised us, show us the money. And that is the same attitude a lot of these other voters in those areas have taken. So, and of course they haven't delivered. you know, they'll say, "Oh, we've done this and this and this," but really, there has been no substantive change in these red wall seats. There has been no money coming into these areas. You know, we had a couple of weeks ago? We went over the the local councillor conference, and when obviously the levelling up was brought up, like all the councillors laughed, and then they said, "Do you know how difficult it is to actually try and find money? That all this money that has been promised to sort of the red wall hasn't been delivered on. It's really difficult to actually get a hold of it, and sometimes even when you do get a hold of it, government priorities change, and then all of a sudden you lose all this money for the project you were trying to do." So this conference was meant to be a big rallying point. And of course, Boris Johnson himself was going to be there. And because Boris has been in trouble, I think he didn't want to, shall we say, didn't feel confident enough that he could go there and certainly come across as being, Mr. Big Dog on campus anymore, certainly up in the Red Wall. I think he certainly felt that. And of course, what did he end up doing? Well, essentially, Boris has run off to Ukraine. He's gone off to Kiev again to see Zelensky. Which bear in mind, I've got no problem. I've got no problem with like Boris going off to Zelensky to see him in Ukraine, but the biggest problem is the fact that it's not really about going to support Ukraine. It's about going to basically get good PR. That's what it's about. It's about getting that good PR for Boris, and it says a lot. It just shows you how much Boris values the PR, because you could have had Boris Johnson at this Red Wall conference rallying his new Red Wall Tory base, or he could have gone to Kiev, right? It lays out just the situation of how much Boris values, shall we say, a good PR visit. And of course, the good PR visit wasn't going to a Red Wall conference to again do the whole cheerleading, rallying the troops, get their supporters on side, at least in a sense, try and make sure that they can at least re-win Wakefield. Oh, Mitch, hello to you. Great to see you all. So, yeah, this was, yeah. So that's just how it was. Jane Ashton, good morning, best wishes from Northampton. Good morning to you, Jane. Yeah. No ponies down in Farnham today. But yeah, and it just goes to show you, even at the next general election, the Red Wall seats are going to be very hard, very, very hard to say the least, to actually maintain for a lot of these Tories. Very, very hard, because it just goes to show you just how quickly Boris is willing to abandon his entire new base for what he would perceive to be a better photo opportunity, and that's ultimately what has happened. So Boris has ultimately just ran off to Kiev to do that. Yeah, the boys run out of fridges to hide. Yes, he's off to go hide in Kiev instead. yeah, and of course we've got to see what it actually ends up talking about. If it benefits Ukraine in some way, I suppose that's good. But ultimately, this was a very, very vain PR move, and it was done explicitly to try and basically G up more support. And it just goes to show you, Boris thought there was more support he could garner from going to see Zelensky in Kiev rather than turn up at a Red Wall conference where they were going to talk about improving the North and re-solidifying their sort of new base. But that didn't happen. So that's one thing, at least. It's one thing, to say the least, that's happened this week. So what do you want to talk about next? Do you want to do? Is the Tory conference down for Liverpool? I don't know. That's the rumour. That the Tory conference is down for Liverpool. Don't know if that's true or not. Needless to say, I think the Liverpudlians are going to give them a very warm welcome if they do that. I missed the intro. Is this the good morning sit today? Yes, it is, Mitch. Unfortunately, yeah. I'm down in. And for those of you who have missed the intro, I'm down in Farnham today for a wedding, for a family wedding. Like I say, we were out last night, so if you can hear my voice is a bit different. A bit different today because we were out late last night, and like I say, any moment I could be, pulled into some, getting help to get the wedding. I can't even say it. Get the wedding ready for this afternoon. So it's one of those interesting things today. So you don't really know what could potentially happen. But needs to say, yes, could be interesting. Could be very interesting. So I don't have long with you today. So we'll have to see how it goes. Yes, the ERCs. Let's talk about that, because this is really just Brexit all over again. It really is. It's really just Brexit all over again. Morning hungover, man. Very, very true. Patrick. Paz News, good morning to you. But yeah, this is just Brexit all over again. I mean, we're gonna end up talking about the Rwanda plan later on. So this will sort of nicely sort of mix into it. But for some time, at least, certainly, not just the Tories, but it's the right wing press in particular, have always really gone hard after the European Court of Human Rights, and they've never been able to distinguish the difference between that institution and the EU. Because as far as they were concerned, oh my God, it's European. Oh, it must be something to do with the EU. Oh, pardon me. So, blackbird flying at me there again. So, Ben Ridings, good morning to you. So, this is one of those things where, the ERC does go way beyond Brexit, but the sounding and the principle, the way that sort of you see these people talking about the ERC, is very, very similar to the way they talked about Brexit. It's always about, oh, we want to do this, but we can't do this because the spoil sports at the European Court of Human Rights or the EHRC are they're ruining our fun. How dare they? How dare they ruin our fun? All we wanted to do, is ship these people off to Rwanda, and the that they're ruining our fun. It's exactly the same talking points they do about Brexit. Oh, we really want to do this, but we can't do it because the spoil sports at the European Union are spoiling our fun. They're not letting us do what we want. Um, and of course, very much so, European Court of Human Rights is not just about human rights. There's a lot of stuff to do with voting rights, democracy. It covers a wide range of things, but this has been one of these things. Yeah, and it's a Churchill thing as well. In fact, he'd set it up. Again, it's one of these very, very British things, and I think they forget, or they would like to conveniently forget, that how much of it is a thing. You don't have to go to a lot of weddings. I just know a lot of people, you know. I just know a lot of people, and of course, 2020, a lot of weddings were planned in 2020, and they all got pushed back. So, yeah, a lot of weddings in the calendar, you know. So it's very, very much about having, and especially like the European Court of Human Rights, is very, very much about having an external organisation to go into these governments and or countries and go, look, you cannot do what you're about to do because it's going to violate an important rule of principle, essentially. And it's really good to have these types of things, you know, because it stops things backsliding. The idea and the aim was to make sure. Again, it was set up in the aftermath of course, World War II, to essentially ensure that no country could, that this the type of thing that happened, of course, the Holocaust, and the things that the many things that, of course, the Nazis did could never ever happen again. That was the whole point of it. It was to have an external organization that most of the European countries, well, at that time, had signed up to make sure this could never happen again. And it just goes to show you how far our government has gone, that it is prickling up against many of these types of organisations. And again, the main one being European Court of Human Rights, because this has become a right wing talking point all the time. How dare these evil European judges? It's not. It's a multinational. It's a multinational organisation of these different countries. Britain's got at least one lawyer. All the countries all have at least one judge on the panel judging all this. So, and the government even again gets to decide which lawyer gets to be appointed to it. So, yeah, it's yeah. You are right, Nick. It's mainly meant to protect people and a country from their own government. Yeah. So there's going to be a discussion now had in Parliament. I think it's this week, and again, it is very much in response to the obviously the EURSHC stopping the deportations and stopping essentially the Rwanda flight. And there's going to be debate next week in Parliament about it. So expect some absolute craziness to start. Honestly, we're going to see all the fun. We're going to see all the fun stuff tomorrow. Crowman, it was never meant to apply to us. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah. But we can't leave it tight. Exactly. Yeah, we can't. That's going to be the fun thing. But we're going to have a debate about it anyway. So that's going to be a fun thing. Yep. You're coming over. What do you do?
Just say hello.
Yeah, just say hello.
What are you streaming on?
This is on my channel.
Oh, hello, Wally's channel. How is everybody? Okay.
Yeah. There we go. So yeah, that was one of my uncles. So, so yeah, so that debate's going to be fun. That debate's going to be fun in Parliament tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow, next week. Of course, if they decide to have it next week. Yeah, special guest. So that debate's going to be pretty interesting when they decide to have that in Parliament. It's either going to be next week or in a few weeks' time, and the discussion will literally be: should we be leaving the European Courts of Human Rights? And of course, as I think it was Bakura pointed out, we can't, because it is intrinsically tied into not only just the deal we signed with the European Union, it's definitely tied heavily into like the Good Friday Agreement / the Belfast Agreement. I think it's tied into a couple of other things that we are signed up to, even sort of pre-Brexit, like the Good Friday Agreement. So us leaving it, it's gonna be fun. Keir Starmer versus a block of ice. Yeah. Yeah. So expect to see, I think, a lot of odds out of that. What are the odds of the use of the sovereignty argument? Probably pretty high. I think the sovereignty argument is going to get deployed to no end, because this is going to be this is going to be their argument, of course. Oh, we're a sovereign country. Shouldn't we have sovereignty over this? It's just like, you don't understand what you're talking about. And you are right, Bakura, they're just wasting Parliament's time. They are completely just making... You were like, did Boris make a deal with the ERG during the no confidence vote? Oh dear. That's one of the rumours. That's one of the rumours certainly going around, that he did make a deal with the ERG. Whether he did or not, we don't know. We might never know. But in any way, it will be... If he didn't make a deal with the ERG, it's almost certainly to get rid of, the Northern Ireland Protocol, and probably to ditch even further the deal we did with the EU, because they were never happy about it. What they wanted was as you may remember this, the clean break Brexit. The idea was we would just leave and we'd just get rid of all of EU law, just get rid of everything, and we just start again. And of course, this very, very much built up into the right-wing libertarian fantasies that they had all the time about, we're going to get rid of all the EU rules. We're going to be, fantastic. We're going to become this really, super slick, fast, dynamic economy. We're going to become Singapore on the Thames. Yeah, if Boris drops the Northern Ireland Protocol, the EU's, yeah, they will. I think we're still expecting the EU to respond to that. Of course, the threats of that, but we will have to see how much further this goes. Almost certainly, when this bill comes into Parliament, the voting is going to be interesting. Yeah, EU started legal proceedings. Yeah, they haven't actually come out and said what exactly is they're going to do yet. I highly suspect it will just be, hey, look, you signed up to this. You know, we expect you to keep your word on this. Singapore on the Thames just equals pirates in the Channel. Very true. Yeah. But even then, they misunderstand the whole point of of Singapore. Singapore is a massively like nationalistic economy. The government owns a ton of business, and what they get into. So it's like, how can they, just start going around and saying, oh yeah, we're going to be like, Singapore, but they have no intention of being like Singapore. Kirsten Cruz, how come the Brexiteers can't understand that there are two different courts, two different organisations? Because they don't understand. They really do not understand. It's that simple. They don't understand. They don't care. They don't really know what they're talking about. But the number of times we've talked about, in the past about they don't understand the EU. They don't understand, why the single market exists. They don't understand why sort of regulations are done at a EU level versus a sort of a national level. They just don't understand. And I think this just continues to show their full lack of understanding about anything that is, well, non UK. But then we've been saying that for the past 6 years at this point. That they don't understand. I mean, they clearly do not understand what they signed for the Northern Ireland Protocol, which is being very evidently clear because you have literally comments from them saying, oh my God, Boris's deal, this oven-ready deal, is going to be fantastic. You had William Hague laughing at people. Oh no, saying that it was laughable, that we needed time to read and discuss, Boris's withdrawal agreement and what that the implications for that actually meant. He said, no, we don't need to read it. It's ready. We can just, get it in, get it done. But of course, what is currently happening is, of course, what the Brexiteers said they were always going to do. They always said, right from the very beginning, that we could sign any deal we wanted with Europe, and then the next day we could just break it. And that goes all the way back to like David Davis being the Brexit secretary. And like, if you remember back in those days, he'd say this in a newspaper, and then the EU would come out and say, no, you can't really do that. And then David Davis would be surprised that the EU called him out. Because, of course the EU are going to be paying like close attention to what a chief negotiator says in these types of negotiations. So yeah, indeed, pretty crazy. So in terms of course, the Rwanda flight, Priti Patel has come out today, and certainly the government seem pretty determined that this flight is going to continue. That this is going to sort of continue. These flights are going to start and take off. But of course, what a lot of people don't recognise, and I think Cathal G brought it up earlier, there is what we call reciprocal exchange. This wasn't a one-way exchange. The UK just doesn't get to send all its people to Rwanda. It turns out in the agreement there was a section that basically says Rwanda can send its refugees to the UK. So now you've got to answer this question: what on earth was the point of this? Because aren't you just literally exchanging one group of refugees for another? And of course, this is not, shall we say, this is not going to, shall we say, excite certainly the hardcore right wing who look at the Rwanda plan and go, "Oh my God, yes, yes, this is it," and work themselves into such a fury over the fact how amazing this Rwanda plan is meant to be, and then you read it and you're like, well, hold on, there's an entire section that says Rwanda gets to send their people here. Kavaland 101, good morning to you. Yeah, the reporting on this has been, especially in the right wing press, has been really awful. And you've got, we've seen some of the reports of some of these refugees who were on that flight. They had their phones taken off them. They were literally strapped into their seats. And of course, we know what these plans do. They don't go well. They do not go well at all. Look at what the Israeli one that they had and the Australian one that they had as well. Both of those places turned into human rights abuse center nightmares. And Australia, after those sort of revelations came out, they had to stop it, and those got stopped. Same for Israel as well. They had to stop that once those revelations about what was going on came out, because even people in the right wing were like, oh, we were meant to, be protecting these people, or at least sending them, quote, somewhere safe, but turns out not that way, and made them look pretty bad in terms of being hardcore supporting of this plan. So they had to really change. It's like, oh no, we're against this idea now, because again, optics wise, doesn't look good when you've had that. So ultimately, at the end of the day, this Rwanda plan is not going to be, shall we say, received well, especially I think when the right wing press certainly gets hold of the fact that refugees from Rwanda are meant to be coming to the UK as well, that it is an exchange. That's not going to be, I think, received well. And what their reaction, like I say, hold on to when that reaction happens, because that will be coming soon. That will be coming soon, because I think it was there was actually an article. I think it's been shared around a bit by a couple of places. I'll have to try and find it later, because I've seen it today, but I can't remember where I've seen it. But it was the front page of one of the big Rwanda sort of newspapers, and he was saying how, oh yes, we're looking forward to sort of welcoming the first flight, and then it had a picture of all these other people in the queue saying, but here's he's the next lot of people that we're going to send to the UK, because of course it's, you can send your immigrants here, we're going to send some of our people over there. So yeah, needs to say, when that comes out, it's not going to be very well received. Morning.
Are you fit to come with me to the Bury Court?
Yep, I'm being called. Right, I'm being called for wedding duties, as I said I might be. So I hope you've enjoyed the Good Morning Walk today. Like I say, next week we will be back to service as normal. Fingers crossed. But yeah, needless to say, our government, words fail you today, to be honest. Anyway, oops, daisy. Oh, hard to get out of a lecture. So anyway, yes, it's going to be a whole lot of fun today. So thank you very much for joining me today. Like I say, please do remember to hit that like, share and subscribe button on your way out. And of course, down below there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. And of course, there is the new YouTube subscription one as well. So have an absolutely fun weekend, everyone. Go out, enjoy yourselves, have fun. As always, as we say, if you can't be safe, be sensible. And of course, we'll see you all next weekend from another Good Morning Walk.